Rip City, Lakers at home hosting the Lakers. The Lakers without LeBron James. Blazers coming off the win over Indiana the night before. There's James. He was in attendance. Anthony Davis was in attendance too, but not for long. He'd leave the game with an upset stomach. That's not good. Consuming raw or undercooked eggs may increase your risk of foodborne illnesses. Russell Westbrook, 1 for 13. Lakers shot 27% in the first half. They were down 15 at the break, 14 in the first quarter. I mean, Damian Lillard. How about Damian Lillard? 18 of 83 from three this season, 22%. But you know that Big Sky was going to get it going, and he did. The Lakers give up 42 in the third, including 13 to Lillard. 42 points for Chauncey Billups' club in the third. Lillard all over it. Lillard goes 6 of 14 from three. He has 25, and the Blazers, Rip City, 105-9.
There is no way in hell that Russell Westbrook is coming off the bench this year. All right, think Allen Iverson in that regard. When he first departed for Philly and Detroit, he wanted to start, and Rip Hamilton was like, I ain't coming off no damn bench. Rich Hamilton refused to come off the bench. That's where that friction in Motown took place, because Rip Hamilton wasn't having that. And he was right, because he was a stout shooter, big-time shooter, not to mention the fact he was an NBA champion. Why the hell should he come off the bench, even if it was for the great Allen Iverson? Rip Hamilton wasn't having it, okay? So let's get that out the way. Russell Westbrook ain't doing that. That's number one. Number two, they can't coexist with each other, Rondo and Russell Westbrook on the floor together, because on the floor together for 7 minutes, they were minus 15. Mm-hmm. So we know how bad that was. When it was them two and Melo on the floor together, I think they were like a minus 13. I mean, it was pretty bad. So we understand that. Here's where it becomes a bit challenging, because Russell Westbrook, is not a good shooter. He can hit some jump shots occasionally, but he is not a good shooter. This is the part about his ego where it's almost justifiable, because I don't consider him selfish. I don't consider him a bad teammate. I think some of the things that people have said about him, I think is cruel. And I don't blame him for having an attitude when people are trying to attack his character, because that's not fair to him. And I will acknowledge that. He leaves it all on the court. He goes all out.
Agreed.
You got Steph Curry. You got Damian Lillard. You got Chris Paul. You got Luka. You understand? You got Jamal Murray and these boys. Understand that if you're Russell Westbrook, that ego is justified, because, wait a minute, these brothers are going to be putting up buckets now. So since you're accustomed to doing the same, to have to now be in a system where you're deferential, obviously, to LeBron and AD, you're going to find yourself getting smoked by other people playing your position, because that's how the narrative is going to be. We could talk about trapping, people getting the ball out of their hands, other people getting the ball, but the bottom line is they're going to look at you, and they're going to look at the other team's point guards, and they're going to see them putting up buckets. You going to look at the box score and know you not. And as a result, it ain't going to fly. So somehow, some way, the Lakers have to figure this out, Swagoo. And if anybody could do it, it's LeBron. But damn. Asking Russell Westbrook to come off the bench when he's been a starter and a finisher his entire career. And the first time you are in L.A., your hometown, coming off the bench, I got a better shot of walking on water. I got a better shot of walking on water.
I've seen you try that a couple times, too.
How about that? Go ahead, Swagoo. Go ahead, man.
Listen, I think it goes back to both of y'all points. And with legs, it's mentality for Russ. He gonna have to lean into the latter part of his line when you start talking about assists and rebounds, as opposed to the point scoring, and allow that to be facilitated by LeBron. I could see Russ running point with Bron and Anthony Davis on the floor. I think Bron is mature enough to understand that I need to have Russ involved in this game, and maybe tell Russ, hey, your role changes, but you still in this lineup. That's what I thought this would be when it first was announced that he was going to LA. Look, it is crazy for anybody to think that Russell Westbrook didn't know he was going to have to sacrifice with what he was coming to. This is about running the offense through AD. This is about LeBron facilitating, and it's about Russ finding his way. But I'm thinking, I hear Legs say that, come off the bench and play with the twos. Yes, conventionally, yes. Because what did we say about the Lakers? When LeBron leaves the floor, there's a drop-off. And then Rondo had a phenomenal bubble. He had a phenomenal way of facilitating. He got AD involved. He understood the flow. So I already think you got your second guy coming off of the bench. It boils down to what both of you said. What is Russ willing to do? And if Russ is going to be selfish and say, I want to be the triple-double guy, we are all sitting here with a mute point because it ain't going to work. And we all know that it's not going to work. But if he wants to lean into assists and rebounds and allow himself to be a third option offensively, and LeBron says, hey, man, you facilitate. I'm a better off-the-ball player. I'm a better shooter. And then when we get in particular times and certain situations in games, you know LeBron is going to have the damn ball. And Russ may have to go to the bench and allow somebody else to come on. But I think that's how you maneuver through this season until they figure out this rapport.
Because I think to your point, look, he went there for a reason, and what he's going to say and what he probably felt internally was he wants one of these badly. That's why he ended up there, okay? Problem is this. You can say it, you can change your role, you can do certain things. We all are alone in the darkest recesses of our own minds. What's in his mind when he leaves the arena every night and he drives back to his crib? Because what you just said, I just chased Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, all these elite point guards around. I still got to guard those dudes, but they're not having to guard me and respect me and honor me in the same way they used to. So, yeah, okay, maybe at some point they get hot. I'm part of a winning team. I got a great chance to win a championship. Does that fulfill him personally as a player? So is he genuinely happy? It's one thing to say, I'll do anything it takes. It's another thing when you're alone in your own thoughts. Are you genuinely fulfilled that you have sacrificed that much of who you were as a player?
And is it a waste of your talent?
In fairness to you, to articulate, to eloquate, to really illuminate your point, rather, there's no evidence that that has been the case. He was in Oklahoma City. He was the man. He went to Houston. He made it very, very clear. He doesn't want to sit around and be a spectator to the great James Harden. He's great in his own right, and he wants to play the way that he wants to play. This is what he told Rockets management and ownership. Then you end up in Washington. Obviously, you wasn't asked to take a step back, even though it was Bradley Beal's team. They brought you there for a reason, and he was still allowed to excel. And now here you are in L.A. with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So again, him asking him to step back,
I'm afraid, having watched LeBron now for nearly 20 years, that we are seeing the end of his indestructibility. Not the end of his greatness, but just he can't go on like this forever. We judge too many things with the standard of Tom Brady, who's moving around, let's be fair, relative to LeBron in a small spot. LeBron is up and down the court.
It's called a pocket.
A pocket. LeBron has no pocket.
That's right.
And as a matter of fact, the other night, when he had that incredible reverse two-handed throwdown, I'm still looking at him, and there's not the fluidity of movement because he's got injuries. LeBron didn't have injuries. The two things that always impressed me the most were LeBron James always makes the right play on the court, decision-making. Always, 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 always. And he was indestructible. Greeny, when you have a series of injuries 3 times in 4 years, you're not indestructible anymore. And the Lakers are not going to be the Lakers that people expect if he's,
I want to make clear what it sounds to me like we're saying. Stephen A., has the era of LeBron James being the league's dominant player come to an end?
I wouldn't go that far because I think when healthy, he can still be that guy. My question to Wilbon, albeit rhetorical, is where have you been? I mean, LeBron James was hurt last year, okay? The reality of
one is not a,
all I'm trying to say is that what we're seeing right now is what we anticipated. Why do you think Russell Westbrook's there? He's 4 years younger. Okay, he's averaging, he's shooting 26% from three-point range. He's averaging nearly 5 turnovers a game. But what did we say? We said LeBron is 36, and Carmelo Anthony is 37. We're looking at Russell Westbrook. You're 32. You're going to quicken the pace. You're going to push the ball up the floor. And the combination of you with Anthony Davis should be able to spell for the games we anticipated. LeBron was going to be out because he's preserving himself. That's the problem. The fact that they don't look that great. Not that LeBron is injured right now.
Stephen A., anticipating something and seeing the reality of it, two different things. I was there when Cal Ripken suddenly had to miss games and was done being indestructible. I was there to watch Walter Payton no longer be indestructible. We see this from the greatest athletes of all time, and it's hard to watch. So, yes, you can anticipate it, but the reality of it is an entirely different deal.
I'm looking at a total different lens, and I still have the Los Angeles Lakers as the clear-cut best team in basketball.
Oh, please.
That's what I have. And the thing is,
I need Jalen's glasses.
I need someone to check his glasses.
most teams struggle without their best player. LeBron James wasn't present. AD still had 28 and 19. Here's the thing. When they get none back and they get THT back, their role players are going to fall into place.
Okay.
And I'm telling you guys, Klay's going to eventually come back. Maybe Kawhi's going to eventually come back. Murray's going to eventually come back. Don't disrespect the Utah Jazz, but I still think when the Lakers are healthy, they're the best team.
Well, when they're healthy, that clause comes up more and more now. When they're healthy, if they're healthy.
Here's what I am going to disrespect. Those glasses. Those glasses. There's something wrong with those glasses because that's just not the case. Here's the deal. Let me put this on blast. If Klay Thompson and James Wiseman come back, the Warriors winning the championship, not the Lakers. Lakers can't mess with them. You got to have your point guard that can hit threes. You got to have your point guard that can avoid 5 turnovers a game. You got to have the combination of LeBron and AD doing what they're capable of doing. This is what I'm talking about when I'm looking at the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years. We know how sensational he is. But there's a reason we said, is KD the best in the world? Is Giannis the Greek freak the best in the world? Because LeBron has been slipping just a touch. Not taken away from his greatness because it's still there.
But is it health the reason why?
Of course.
Yes, we're saying the same thing, Steve.
Of course.
He's had 3 seasons in LA prior to this one. He's only finished one of them healthy, and that was the one where they had the long layoff and then went to the bubble and they win the championship. So to your point, if he's all there at the end, maybe they are the team to beat, but that is a big if. To the point that you made, maybe a bigger if than it's ever felt like in his career.
He's going to be healthy come playoff time. To me, Anthony Davis is more of a question mark about health than LeBron James.
We said this last year, Jay.
He was the one that missed the playoff games last year.
But LeBron wasn't himself, wasn't the indestructible LeBron we're used to seeing. All I'm saying is, doesn't it bother you guys that they lost twice in this way?
Oklahoma City.
Okay, so you got how many wins on the season?
Right. Yes.
2.
Correct.
Both over
26-point lead, 19-point lead, lost both games.
They've had to force easier schedule. So you hope that they would get off to a good start.
You got Wilbon concerned about LeBron's health. You got him more concerned about AD. I'm most concerned about Russell Westbrook. Because to me, I know, listen, AD going to be healthy or he not. Period. LeBron going to be healthy or he not. Period. Russell Westbrook could be 100%, and this still might not work.
So when we're debating,
this still might not work.
When we're debating which of the Lakers' concerns is the biggest,